Okay, let's get back to our implementation. So up to now we have the form, we had the add button, but the add button doesn't do anything. So what we want is so in this case, what are we doing? We already have the add button, but it doesn't do anything. So we want to link that button with some functionality. In this case, the functionality we want to link the button is with this function that I created here, that is handle submit. This handle submit basically creates like this answer, not object, but this structure. And then I do this props dot add answer. This doesn't work yet because we haven't implemented this add answer question, but what it represents is that we are invoking a function that has been passed to us by our parent component, and that function is defined in our parent component. Okay? Why is this function defined in our parent component? Because the one that manages the one that has the information concerning the answers in our application is not the answer form, but the app itself. No? So is the app the ones who know the questions and the answers to the question. So the responsibility or the one that can add an answer to a specific question is the app component, not the answer form. Okay? Is it clear? So let's do the okay. And in this case, the way to link the behavior of this form to the function is not directly in the add button, because in the add button we already specified that this is the button through which the link will be submitted. This submit value is a default value. It's not that something that I wrote, but it's a default value to indicate that this is the button that submits the form, but we define it here at the beginning of the form, and we say on submit handle submit. So we are saying that when the button responsible for submitting this form submits it, we should invoke this function that is handle submit. Okay? Let's see what happens. Okay, if we click add, it already does some validations, because if you observe, if you take a look at this, we included this field required to indicate that the first and the second fields are required. In the third one, no, because by default it sets a date there. So well, okay. So let's say new answer. Sorry. And I mean, you didn't notice, but it didn't work. I mean, it did everything very fast. But what it did there was to reload the whole page. No, it reloaded the whole page. Did you see it blinked somehow? Because by default in HTML in the browser, when you submit a form, what it does is reloading the whole page. Indeed, if you take a look here at the URL, the URL has changed. No, so it means it redirects us to a new page, and we don't want it to redirect us to a new page. No, because in React, I mean, indeed in React the purpose of using React is not redirecting each time we are doing some operation, but to reload just the necessary components. So to prevent that default behavior that is an HTML behavior, we should add here at the beginning of the function event dot prevent default. Okay, so that's the sense of that line of code, to prevent the default behavior of the browser. So I don't know if let's. Okay, so in this case, I mean, it seems that nothing changed, but here in the URL, for instance, we remain in the same URL, okay, and the whole page didn't refresh. We stayed where we are, okay. Now, what do we have to do to make this work? Of course, implementing this add answer function, no? Because until now it is nothing. Where do we implement it? Where do we implement this? Here, because as I was explaining before, this one is the one that owns the information and the ones that that has all the answers information. So Okay, so here we have the function. I'm sorry, I did it just very quickly, but here it's basically the function to add a new answer to our answers array. Okay, so well, basically what I did here was to create a new ID that is like an auto increment function that it takes like the maximum ID, increments in one, and uses this as the ID for the new answer that is being created. Of course, this is not the elegant or the best way of doing this, but for now it's fine. What will happen then is that we will connect this front end with the back end, and at the back end we will have the database, and the database itself will be responsible for creating the IDs for the new data that will be added there. Right now, since we are doing everything here locally in a JavaScript array, we have to find a way to create a new ID, so that's why we do this math.max operation, okay? Question, where do we get these three values? We are getting them from the form, because in the form we said that we will be invoking that function, passing as a parameter the answer, and within the answer we have these three fields, no? Text, email, and date. So it makes sense here to talk about text, email, and date, because we know that what arrives as a parameter to this function that has been invoked by the child component is something that has a text, an email, and a date, okay? Okay, what's the last thing that we are missing to do the connection? To pass the function as a prop until we arrive to the answer form. Okay, so since we don't have the answer form here from the root, I mean the function is defined here in app.jsx. We have the add answer function. Okay. And we agree that that's the place where it should be. Then we should indicate, or we should link that function with the form. It means that here I will add a new prop to the answers. In which I am passing to the first child the function through which he will be able to add a new function. In this case, the first child in that tree is the answers component. But then, once we are in the answers component, we should pass it again to the answer form, no? So here, how did we call it here? Add answer. Not answer. Okay. So it worked. I just want to show you something. First, I wrote the function like this, no? Like add answer. But do you remember that when we have or when we are expecting parameters in a function that we are passing as a prop, we should change the syntax? I don't know if you saw that in the last lesson. And in that case, the syntax becomes something like this. And this is to indicate that we are passing this add answer function that is expecting the answer as a parameter, this one, and that parameter will be used when invoking the function that we have defined in the root component. Because as you can see here, we are expecting a function. I don't know if here you have another function that doesn't require parameters. For instance, sort by score, no? In sort by score, we didn't need any parameters, no? So if, for instance, this function was defined within the component, but if, for instance, this function would have been defined outside this component and passed as a prop, when you want to invoke this, it would be enough to write props that sort by score, because in this case, we are not passing any information. We are not setting any parameter. On the opposite, since here we are passing a parameter, the syntax is this one, okay? Obviously, when I update the site, the changes don't remind, because they are local changes that are being done in a JavaScript array, okay? But let's do it again, so I'll show you again. So text new answer. Okay, so as you can observe here, it updated the table, okay, without updating the whole site and without re-rendering everything, but it just re-rendered the component that it was supposed to re-render, okay? What else? And just one question. Why do you think that by interacting with this component, with the form component, it was able to update the table component that is a different one, that is at the same level? What I want to highlight is the fact that it worked because the answers, it's a state variable, it's in the parent component, and it is common both to the table and to the, it is common or it is visible or used by the table component. So when something changes on that state variable that is the set answers state variable, it reloads the component that depend on that or that are used by that state variable, okay? So that's like the magic of React. Specifically in here, with the add answer, we are dealing with the state of the old answers and the new answer, and we are dealing with this state, with the state of set answers, okay? And when set answers changes, all the components that depend on that state variable updates, reloads. Up to now, is everything clear? sometimes it's difficult to see the connection between the different components and between the props that you are passing as functions and the invocations that you are doing of that functions, but well, I hope is everything clear in this example. We are still missing something now because we said that that form was visible just if the user has clicked on the add button, okay? So here, as you suggest, we should create something such as this. Let's call it. And here, I will do something like this. Do you understand this syntax here? It is something, it is equivalent to say, if the mode is equal to add, then display or show this component, okay? In this case, when we update our app, it won't show anymore the form. And it's fine that it doesn't show again the form because we initialize this state variable as view, or we can call this as default. That means, like without anything. This means that here okay, but we have this button, and what we want to do is, when I click this button, what should happen? I should change the state variable so that it switches from view or from default to add. When it will become add, then the whole component tree renders, and in that situation, it will show the form to add the answer. Now we say here uncle. Okay, I will delete. No, I will leave this one here. Well, no, I was going to delete this one because it makes no sense. But anyway, I leave it there so you can play with it if you want to see that the sort is doing something, no? That sort is updating. And to see specifically which value is taking the sort. Anyway, if you want also to check the values that it is getting, you can always take a look at this extension, and it will show the values that it take. But okay, just to make it explicit here in the graphical interface, I will leave it there. So in this case, did you see what happened? When I click this add button, I change the state variable, the set mode, and it changed it from default to add. And in this case, when it is add, then it will show me the answer form, okay? The only problem is that in this case, I have two add buttons. No? So somehow I have to distinguish or to use just one of them, just with one button be able to switch between the modes. Do you have any idea on how can we deal with that issue?
You can show the button of the second button, the add button, only if mode is equal to the first.
Yeah, like in this case, we can apply the same reasoning that we used before, that we show the form if our mode is adding, and we hide if, yeah. Let me explain with code this issue. And instead, if the mode is default, it will display the button. So we have add, it works. When we reload the component, it again show the desired button. Okay. Let me check, because we have also to deal with this. Look what I am going to do and tell me if you get it. If it makes sense to you, okay? Okay, did you see what I did? Here, I said in the answers component, I added a new props that in this case was a function that I named it cancel. I say that this function, what it does is to set the mode again to view, no? Because I want that when the user clicks cancel, it hides again the form, no? So in this case, what I'm doing is passing a new property, a new property to the answer form. That property contains or encompasses a function, and that function, what does is to set the mode to not to view, to default again. And here in the answer form, I'm saying when the user clicks on the cancel button, let's call that function that has been passed to me as a prop, okay? Let's see if it works. So here we have add, and here we have cancel. So is it more or less clear what was the reasoning that we, I mean, here in this case, this is nice because, let me show you something. Okay, instead of having this here, that I guess you already understood how this works, let's add it here. It's very ugly what I'm doing, but it's just for mode. Okay, no, mode. So, okay, when the page renders for the first time, it is default because we initialize with default. Okay, then when we click on add, it will become add. Okay. And it will show when, because as we define the condition that when the state is add, it should show us the form, and show us the form. Okay. What does this cancel do? Changes again that the same state variable, it changes that state variable again. And by doing that, we are hiding again the form that we were showing. Okay. It's not more complicated than that. That was the old reasoning. So it's a very nice solution because we are playing just with one state variable that enables us to show or to hide some component from the website just by changing one state variable. Okay. Is clear how we implemented that behavior? Any questions? Okay. So if it is clear, how would you think or how would you expect that we can implement this editing function? Do you have any idea with that? Yeah, always in the, I mean, the involved components, for sure, we should be doing something in the app JSX, in the root component, because that's the one that owns the array of answers. So here, for sure, we will be implementing something like edit answer, something like this, add answer, but edit answer. For sure, we will have something like that will receive something like this, for sure. What else? Which other component we should touch? For sure, this one, no? Because this one is the one that owns the button that triggers everything. So for sure, we will be doing something in the answer actions. This one, I think it is. So we will be doing something here on click. And the function that we'll be calling there, it is of course a function that arrived to us as a property. We know that it is a function that arrived to us as a property because in here, within this component, within the answer actions, we don't have any function, okay? So inside that is a very tiny component, we don't have any function. So for sure, it is a function that belongs to a parent of us as the answer actions. So we can say that we will have something for sure like edit answer. And in this case, okay, now let's leave it there. And the way of connecting this tiny component to the app JSX, that is the root component, is by passing it as a property. So well, let's do it here. So we have answers. So edit answer. And how can we manage with the fact that by clicking here, I want to show again the form? Always playing with the same state now, so let's do something like it is just that in this case, we will have a third value for that state variable. That third value will be edit. So, and in that case, we will be passing as a prop, not a function to add an answer, but a function to edit the answer. Okay. Okay, so let's try to do it from bottom up. So I will start from the smallest component to the highest one, so that you can see how the change is propagated in that way. So it's more clear, because I was trying to connect the biggest one, that is the app.jsx, with the smallest one. But I think it is more clear if we start from the answer actions, I mean from this button up to the whole functionality. So in this one, we say that when on click, we will invoke this edit answer that has been passed as a property. It means that here in his parent component, that is the answer row, we should have something as edit answer. And here something changed. I mean, in comparison with delete the answer, something changed here, no? Because with delete the answer, it was enough to know the ID of the answer that I was trying to delete. Because to delete the functionality, what it did was to search on the array for the field for the answer that had that ID and delete it from the array. In this case, it is not just the ID of the question that I'm trying to answer, but I need all the information of the question that I'm trying to edit, okay? So that's why, in this case, other than passing the function that will handle the edit of the answer, I also have to pass the answer itself, okay? Because if I don't know what is the answer itself, I can't do anything. So, okay, I'm passing the answer itself. Okay, here we are in answer row. It means that here in answer row, I will also have to okay, and answer table and answer Okay, no, I'm sorry, because I'm just missing some last component here, because here we have I think we might take a look at I copy paste this code so we earn some time here. So here in the app.jsx, we already said that we need a function to update the answer, the same as we did with add an answer, okay? This function here doesn't do anything, well, let's say anything extraordinary, but to update the state with the answers to that question. Okay, then this the same as we did with add answer, we will do with edit answer. Because we are trying to tell our children which function to invoke when they want to edit an answer in the website. So here we have what they called it here, update answer. Update answer will correspond to this one. And then here in the okay, so here in this case, take a look at this second piece of code. No, we have the edit mode, the same as we had before the add mode. In this case, we have the edit mode. In this case, we also display the answer form, but we are passing different props because it's different what we are trying to do or how we behave the fact that our application wants to add something or that our forms want to add something. Respect to the moment in which it wants to update something. So for instance, in this one, when we were in the adding mode, observe that here the action, I mean for cancel, it is the same. No? Take a look at this. This cancel, what it does is to get back to the view mode because the view is hiding the form and it is fine whether I cancel an adding or whether I cancel an edit. Okay, so here this one doesn't change with respect to this one. Okay, it sets both to default. And also this one. Let's do it. Here we are passing the and here we are passing the update answer. That is the function that the form should call in this case, because in this case, while here we were calling this add answer, that was the function that the add button was invoking when creating an answer. Here we are calling a different function, that is update answer. Where is this function defined? In the app.jsx. It was passed to us as a prop. Is it clear that part? Yes, no? Let me see if I can make it work. And let me check something here. Yeah, I'm just missing this one. Okay, so I was missing this one, and I was missing the connection between this button, this small button that belongs to the answer table, and the function handle edit that we have defined in its parent component answers, okay? So let's try to summarize all the links. It's not super easy to show, to explain, but well, let's try. So we are in the answers, right? Within the answers, we have the answer table. And everything will start within the answer table, no? Because all the action, all the editing action is triggered by this component, no? So that when I click on this component, he will invoke some function. The function that this little component will invoke is not a function defined within itself, because within itself, he's just a button. He belongs to this component here. Let's check with the, he belongs to, here, no? I'm sorry that this, no, okay, here we have the answer actions. That is the smallest component. By clicking on this button, it will invoke a function, or we want to invoke a function that is defined here, that is the answer table. So the way to propagate from a small component to the bigger component is by passing at the beginning from the bigger to the small by the props to indicate what is the function that will be invoked, no? So that when you click that button, you will be invoking this function. So on click, I will be, here, this one. On click, I will be calling the function that I received as a prop, and that is called handle edit. That requires to pass as a property the answer that I want to edit. Okay, that's up to that point. It is that. Then when we go up, we have that these actions belong to the row. No. So in the row, you can observe that the row is passing as a property the function that the smallest component is calling, that is handle edit. This answer row belongs to the answer table. And we see that when the answer table is creating a row, it is passing the handle edit function. No? So we are passing, that function is coming from the bigger components. We are the edit button, but we are getting that function from the bigger components that they are passing it to us as a prop. Okay. And finally, this one was passed to us as the, okay, here we receive this as handle edit. And we can see that the handle edit was passed here, no? Handle edit. What does this handle edit function does? It changes the mode to edit, and it changes or it invokes the function that is responsible for updating the answer. Okay. I mean, this kind of behavior is kind of tricky because it involves like different components. I mean, requests coming from different sites and components at the same level, but from different. It's triggered from here, but then it is handled by the answers component. Okay. Let me. Well. Well, I don't know if it's more or less clear how we propagate the function from top to the bottom, and how the trigger that was the action that was triggered from the bottom was propagated from bottom to up.
Why are we also passing a key in the case of the
Yeah, because in this case, you mean here we are passing all the answer, no? Because we need to know what was the answer to edit. Then in here, okay, and then from there on, it is passing all the answer, no? It is invoking the function with all the answer, no? But you mean the key in
answer form?
The answer form, you mean this one?
No, when you call the answer form from the answer component. Yeah, there.
Okay.
Line
930.
32.
Okay, yeah, we are passing this, but because in this case we are defining it as a no, because in the solution here they managed also a different property that was a key, but for different purposes. But here with the answer data, we should be able. No, I mean this key is handled by this solution to take the ID of the question and to edit the question that has that ID, then to match the question. Let me show you here. It was, where was it? No, in this case, well, no, I don't know in this case why is he using this key. Oh, my.
I think it's because there are different answers, and every time you click the button, you have to distinguish from.
Yeah, but in that case, it would be enough with the answers ID, I guess, no? I mean, no, because I was thinking that this makes sense if this was like in the table row, because in the row you have to distinguish between one row and the next one, because they are identical components and you need to have a way to distinguish between them. But in here, since we are talking about the answer form, in the answer form, it is just like the component there. And as you can observe here, he's not using that key.
Yeah, but I think that if you click on edit for one answer and then on edit for another, you have to distinguish these two forms.
Sure. I understand, but I think the way to distinguish them is, however, by passing the answer here, no? Because you are passing all the answer. And I think that the answer object has the ID within it. Well,
To know the answer, so that in the edit form we can really compile the...
yeah, yes. Let me check something here. Sure, I understand what you say, but you see that here he's doing everything with the answer ID.
No, I mean when you open the browser and click on edit.
Okay, let me run this one. Okay. Let me stop. Wow. This one is web applications. Okay. So you say that when I click this one,
Yes, sir. You should see the input also starting already with this.
I have to see the.
Yes, already the inputs are already reviewed.
Yeah, but in that case, those inputs would belong to the answer that is being passed as a parameter to that function, no? I mean, because it's the same as when we.
Click on the edit button, okay,
Sure, because when I click the edit button, for sure I have to pass as a parameter all the information of the question that I'm trying to edit. Yeah. And I think that one of the fields of that question that I'm trying, of that answer that I am trying to edit is the ID of the answer. And in that case, it would be enough, no? Because I don't need to distinguish. I mean, I wouldn't have the necessity to pass also the key, no? Because the key is something that is used to manage, to distinguish the components, in this case, the row, no? So it makes sense to use the key within the answer table. In this case, passing it to the answer form, boy, I don't get the. I was going to do that. Eh? Let's see if it breaks. Okay, yeah. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it works anyway. So that key shouldn't be doing something here. No, because typically when you find the keys, it is when you have like the row components or those components that are repeated, that the lists, let's say the lists. When there is a list in React, for sure, each component within that list should have a key. In this case, this is the answer form, so I don't, let's say I don't find the usefulness of the key at this point. So let me check here. Okay, so and this was partially done. Anyway, I will upload the code. But the important thing, as you have noticed, is to try to distinguish which state variables to use. The reasoning to add or not add a state variable is which components of the website we want to update when an action occurs. So in this case, we wanted to update the table when something happened, to add the table or to edit something. Well, and I don't know if we can say it in that way, but somehow the state variables in this case worked kind of like a flag, no? Like a flag that indicated us what to show or what not to show, or which view or which operation we were trying to do. So both with the edit mode, with the mode, and with the what was the other one? Yeah, with the mode and with the sorting, it was the same reasoning. We create a state variable to switch and to know which kind of sort to use in the table. And with the other one, we create a state variable to know which operation we were trying to do. My advice is try to keep simple all of these components tree. In this solution, for instance, we have so many components because, I mean, for instance, I would try to keep this one in a single component. No, a table, at least the row, to keep it into a single component, because right now it is the data on the one hand and the actions on the other hand. Well, maybe some other grouping can be done in this case. When you will be doing your exercise for the exam, you will see that it is painful to have a lot of levels in React. So you have to find like the perfect balance between having a lot of small components or having kind of bigger components, but not having to propagate the props across like 5 or 6 components as we have to do here, okay? Do you have any questions? Everything clear? Perfect. So we'll see Thursday. Thank you.